Hi guys, it's Amy GablesStitcher here with a long overdue stitching update for you. Today is September 15th, 2021, and it's been many months since I sat in this chair to talk to you about my cross stitch. It was a very busy summer. There's a lot going on. Did not lend itself for floss tubing time. Not much watching a floss tube and no filming a floss tube, as you know. But it's September. The kids are back to school and they are loving it. Not loving the homework, but they're loving being back at school with their friends. My husband is back at work most days too. And I think he is very happy too to be back at work with his colleagues and not talking to everybody through a computer screen in a room upstairs all day. So life is getting back to normal a little bit here. And I am very excited to come back and to show you everything I have been stitching over the last several months. You can see I have quite the pile over there. I think I have 13 whips, 3 new starts, 2 finishes, and 1 previous finish to show you. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to show you is a previous finish, and this is a very old finish. This is a Just Nan angel, and I have no idea which angel it is. I don't even know when I stitched it. I want to say it was late 1990s, early 2000s. So the skin is over 1, which is how it was charted, and there's tons of beads and metallics in this. I framed it myself back in the day, and the frame has not held up very much. This was a gift from my grandmother back after I stitched it, and my grandmother passed away this summer. And when I was helping my mother close out her house, I did take this home with me. She took some of the stitching I made for her. I took some of it as well, so I'll sprinkle the previous finishes through my videos. I think it had taken a spill at one point because the frame is broken. But for right now, I'm enjoying it on my mantle so I can remember my grandmother and look at the stitching that I did many years ago, because I don't do a lot of stitching with beading and metallics now. So that was the previous finish. Moving to in the more recent past, I had my first finish in May. I haven't had many finishes this year. I'll need to look. I didn't look at my spreadsheet before I filmed this video, but I think I've only had like 4 or 5 finishes this year, not many at all. And this is one of them. So this is Yule. I am really out of the floss tube habit because I forgot to look up who this was by. I know I mentioned it in my previous video or the one before. Maybe I'll put it in the drop down box if I remember. This was an old kit. It came with everything, the linen, the week's dye works. It was a fun stitch. In May, I got together with a bunch of the Frugal Yankees, a bunch of stitches from here in New England, and we stitched together, and I finished this while I was there. And I actually finished it twice because I found out the old week's dye works are not color fast. After I finished it, I left it on the table next to me, and I spilt my seltzer water on it, and the green border all the way around ran. And I was able to get most of it off, but the thread had bled into the fabric right next to the stitching. So the border was originally a single stitch. So what I did is after it dried, I did a second stitch around the border to save the piece. So I don't have the pattern anymore. I did pass it on while I was there, and I don't know how I'm going to finish it. I might finish it into a flat fold or just a long skinny pillow, but I think that's very cute. It's on 32 count linen. It's probably a natural, maybe a light mocha. And there's a finish. Excuse me. Like I said, no idea what number it is. Got to get back into the floss tube groove here. My second finish was recently, end of August, beginning of September. This is a pattern by Rovaris. I've been calling it Salem Witches. The name of it is, I think, actually Salem 1692. I had started this before I started floss tubing. So probably about 3 years ago. I hadn't gotten too far. Pulled it out at the beginning of the year, stitched on it a little bit, and then I pulled it out in August and decided I was just going to finish it. So this is stitched on a piece of 32 count linen that I coffee and tea dyed myself, baked and basted. I love the way this linen came out, and I've never been able to recreate it. I do have some more of it left on the bottom, so I'll stitch something else on it. So there we go, Salem 1692. I need to find a frame for it. I would like to put it into a black frame to display it for Halloween. It's a little bit of an odd size. I didn't look to see what size it was going to come out before I started it. I just started stitching, which is something I do now. I try to stitch on fabric count that will put it into a standard size frame, but I think I can find something. I stitch this with DMC 310, so it's 32 count, stitched 2 over 2, and the only thing that's not 310 in it is the wording. I used 37.99 DMC, just a nice dark gray. So hold up one more time. That's my more recent finish and not yet fully finished. Hopefully the next time I come back, which I'm hoping will not be in 4.5 months. Hopefully it will be much sooner. All right, what do I have top of the pile next is new starts. So I have not done very well this year at getting my whip count down. My goal was to, as it is every year, was to decrease my whip count. I started 3 things since I last saw you. I finished 2, but I haven't finished very much else this year. I do have some stuff lining up for a finish, but maybe 2022. That's the plan, at least, as it is every year. 3 starts. My first start, I don't think these were in chronological order, just first start of what's in the pile, is Plum Street Samplers, Miss Bingley's Library. I have been wanting to stitch this forever. Plan to hang it in the library when I'm done. This is a quote from Pride and Prejudice. Miss Bingley is one of the characters in Pride and Prejudice. And it says, "I shall be miserable if I have not an excellent library." How true. So my friend Julie and I, Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, decided to do some Jane Austen stitching in July, July. I had planned to actually start 2 things, but only got to 1. Maybe the other one will be coming, we'll see. I am stitching it with all the called for fibers. This has been kitted up probably for a couple of years in my stash. And I got a fairly decent start on it. I'm stitching it on a 46 count linen. And I started in the center because I do not have a lot. I'm playing a little bit of fabric chicken on the sides. I have plenty of fabric top to bottom. I just had this long, narrow scrap. So I started in the center to make sure that I have enough room on the sides. And Miss Bingley lives in a very big house, so I have part of the house done. And that's it. I would like to get back to it soon. I love the blue of the shutters. You can see the nice variegation too and the gray on the door. So fun stitch. I probably worked on that for a couple of days, and as I said, I would like to get back to it soon. The next start, I think this was actually my first start. May, I started Red Rhapsody by Rosewood Manor. I've never stitched a Rosewood Manor, and I don't know why, because all of a sudden I am loving all of her patterns. So Karen Kluba is the designer, and she has a ton of amazing patterns. So I saw this in the spring and had to buy it. And I was talking with Karen on Instagram, and not Karen. Oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. I'll link her below. Someone who I've been chatting on Instagram since I started floss tubing. He lives overseas, super nice, super nice. And she's like, hey, you want to start it in May? I said, that sounds great. I'm like, I'll do a tag and announce it in my floss tube. And I haven't done a floss tube since. She's finished. So I haven't, but I did make a good start. So this is Red Rhapsody by Rosewood Manor. I am stitching it on 36 count Picture This Plus vellum. I love this fabric. Like, I in general have not been a huge Picture This Plus, I wouldn't say fan, there's no place local to me that sells Picture This Plus, so I don't see a lot of it in person. And I find that sometimes the fabric can be like really rough, but this color I love. Hold it back. It looks like old paper. Like, it's just a fabulous color. So hold up the tag so you can see it. Then I'll show you the stitching. Vellum. And I am stitching this with a sulky thread. I want to say it's called Red Work is the color. So there's a nice variegation there. And I have a really good start. This is so much fun to stitch. I am really, really loving it. I am actually going to cut out this middle part right here so you can see right now how far I've gotten. See the bottom of those 3 blocks in the center? So that's right here. I'm going to cut out. So basically I'm just moving this up now to be under those 3 blocks. And the reason for that is because those are my least favorite alphabets. And if I move up the flowers and take out those alphabets, this will fit into a square frame that I already have. So talking about trying to fit when I'm stitching into a standard frame, this is an example of that. So this was a new start, but I really feel like this could be a finish this year because I love stitching on it. And I don't feel like I have that much left. So that was my second start. My third start, I'm going to pull it up, a picture of it up on my tablet here because I don't have a printout of it. It was a birthday start. I did celebrate a birthday in July, and I have been wanting to start, let me put the contrast down here. I've been wanting to start this sampler for a couple of years. Julie has as well. And my friend Melissa, who is Geeky Witch here on FlossTube, I'll link her channel below, is starting it as well. Here we go. Like this so you don't see too much of the ring light. This is a Virulent Sampler, and this is in the last 2 issues of Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly magazine. It's huge. Like, it does not fit in a fat quarter or 40 count because, you know me, I like big whips. I cannot lie. But how gorgeous is that? So Julie has wanted to stitch it for a while. I have, and I said, my birthday, let's do it. So this is available. If you don't have the back issues of the magazine, they have the magazine you can buy on a CD through 123, and I think I got mine on Amazon because I had a gift card of all the issues, and that is a treasure trove of samplers. And you can also buy single issue downloads from Annie's. So you can still join in the sale because we'll be stitching it for a while. So I am stitching it on 40 count vintage country mocha. And this is my start. So pretty. It's fun to stitch. I am stitching it with DMC 310. I have the big cone of 310. So I can stitch all the virulents and have a lifetime supply of it there. So that's my start. That's about 1 page of the design. I need to cut my fabric. This is a long half, and it's not gonna take up that whole half. I think it's slightly too, I think you could fit it on a fat quarter of 46 count. A fat quarter of fabric is 17 by 27. So you could fit it on a fat quarter of 46 count with like a almost 2-inch margin, I think. You can't fit it on a fat quarter of 40 count. So this is a little bit wider than the 17 inches. This is like 23 inches wide. So it was enough to fit on it. Okay. So 3 starts. 3 starts in 4.5, 5 months. 2 finishes. So I'm only +1. It's not too bad. Oh, no, I lied. 1, 2, that was 2 starts, 3 starts. I have 4 starts. So I guess I'm +2. Oops. So it's fine. I love stitching. I joke about my whip count, but it doesn't really bother me. So this is a stitch along. This is Elizabeth Adelise by Hedgegrove Stitching. So this is a PDF download you can buy from the website. That's the name of the company there. And this is a stitch along with Betsy Clagle. So it's called the Stupid, STOOPID Tumor Sal. And if you're not watching Betsy, I'll link her below, please do, and she will explain the Sal. Sal means stitch along. Sometimes we forget and we just go into our acronyms. So I picked a color conversion. It calls for fancy floss, weeks, and gentle arts. I went through my color and cotton and picked some colors. I picked Aged Pumpkin, Abyss, look at that blue. Oof, so pretty. Castle Garden, it's a nice green. It's not quite that bright. Chamois. It's pretty true. It's like a pinky beige. Hickory, a nice brown. Sepia, it's like a light taupe. Spice cider, that's not that bright. It's more like a brownie cranberry. And then 2 DMC. And I am stitching that on 36 count Boston by Seraphim Fabrics. And I know this color is not going to show up. This is a fabulous color. It's like a bluey gray color. It's a gray with a lot of blue in it because it's totally washed out. Blues and greens are really hard to photograph and videotape film, and this is one that just won't translate, but it is really a gorgeous color. And that is my start. So not much. I do hope to get back to this and actually finish it relatively soon. It's a small sampler and it's a fun stitch. So check out Betsy and that Sal, and I will link both of them below. Okay, 4 starts. Now we're really into whips. These are all things that I have previously started. WIP stands for work in progress. And some of these are close to a finish. I worked on things for a long period of time. I didn't switch out, which was good because I did see some good progress. So the first one is Blackbird design, Quaker Garden. This is an old Blackbird. Had it for a long time. Hasn't been a whip forever, but I do have had it for a long time. I pulled this out because, as many of you know, Barb, who is one of the designers for Blackbird, passed away this summer. And this one has Barb's initials in it. So I really wanted to stitch it. And I would like to finish it soon too. So I am really showing good progress here. Let me find something to hold behind it. This is on the called for fabric with the called for fibers. And anybody who's been watching me for a long period of time knows my love-hate relationship with this project. I love the project. I hate the fabric. The fabric is 30 count weeks dye works that is see-through. I mean, you could read the newspaper through it. Let's see if there's something else to hold behind it over here. Okay, let's hold up. Let's put it at the back of this, so you can hopefully see what it looks like. It's going to be fine once it's framed. That's better. It's washed out, but you can get a better idea of the colors. So I've worked my way all the way to the other side, to the far side, and started filling in. I've been kind of color completing, which I don't usually do, but I was having fun doing it. To the butterfly in the center, or the moth, my whole right side is complete. So I just need to fill in the left side. And this is a 30 count fabric, so it's actually not a ton of stitching that's left. I did date it 2021. Where is it? So I guess I'm committed now to finish it. 2021. But I would like to finish it. This is one of those designs I actually would like to stitch a second time on a different fabric, because I do have such mixed feelings about this fabric, and I have a picture in my head of it on a different fabric. So not right away. I don't stitch many things twice, but I do think I would like to stitch that one again at some point. Not immediately. Let's finish it the first time before we start it the second time. Next whip. This has probably been the project I've stitched on the most since I've seen you last. This is Modern Folk Embroidery, the Fruits of Plenty. This is the 2021 stitch along. It is not a mystery stitch along because you were shown the project in January, and every month you get a piece of the chart emailed to you on the first of the month. When I saw this, I fell in love. I had to do it. It took my breath away. And I told myself if I started it, I would have to try to keep up with it, because there was so much stitching on it that I was afraid I wouldn't get back to it if I did it. Let me pull my floss off of there. And I've done a pretty good job. So here we are. I have finished the center block where the house is August. And he gave you, Jacob is an extraordinary designer. He gave probably 4, maybe 5 or 6 options for what you wanted to put in the center cartouche. And I debated, but ultimately I put what was originally charted because I did love it when I saw it. So these are the last 2 months. Make a nice close up here. So this is July and August. I hope to start September in the next couple of days so I can stay somewhat on track for an end of the year, early next year finish. And here's the top half of it. And I am just using DMC. I don't have my bobbins here. I've mentioned in other videos what I'm using. Like I said, I'm out of practice, and it is very wrinkled. I work in a hoop generally, and I was gonna iron, but I didn't because I actually have a stain on this and I need to wash it when I'm done with it. It's kind of washed out a little bit. That's better. I need to wash it when I'm done with it, and I don't want to set the stain with an iron. So wrinkled it is. This is a lot of stitching every month, but I love stitching it. It's very enjoyable. This is stitched on 40 count alabaster linen, which is not an over dyed, or hand dyed. It's like a stock Zweigart color. The next one I have spent quite a bit of time on is my other stitch along this year, and that is the Jade Band sampler put on by iStitch Designs. She does one every year. I did the burgundy band last year. This year is the Jade Band, and there is 30 weeks to the stitch along. Same as the Modern Folk Embroidery. You know, you pay her, and then once a week, every Friday, she emails you the next part of the chart. I am going to unroll it and go up. I am almost done, guys. It's 30 weeks of stitch along. It's ended, like the last part came out, but I'm on week 27. 27. I have 3 left. So I am so proud of myself for keeping up with this. Keeping up at it, as you know, keep in mind last year I finished the burgundy one in April of this year. So I'm like way ahead of myself. So I'm going to go up and show it to you. This is worked on banding. It is 28 count banding done over 1. I'm doing it with DMC. And as the floss tuber who forgot how to floss tube, I forget what color it is. I didn't bring it over here. Next video. I just had too much to show you. So when this is completed, it's going to be about 1 meter long, because you need 1 meter of banding and you have enough to end it, to attach to the spool and end it in a hem stitch. And here we go. That's the end of it. So this is the last alphabet. And then there is the border completes at the bottom, and there's a little motif at the bottom. So that's it. This is done. I am so thrilled with the way this is coming out. So thrilled that you guys are going to watch it in reverse. Come back down again. And you would think that stitching alphabets over and over would be boring, but no, it's just because you're just doing a few lines every week. And by the time you get bored of the alphabet or the border, you're moving on to the next one. So it is so enjoyable. This is by iStitch Designs. Once again, I will try to put the link in my description box. She has announced she's doing one next year. I want to say it's going to be the denim. It's blue. You could do it whatever color you want, but that's just what she's calling it. So this is about, let's see, $25 or $30 for the year-long stitch along. Will I be doing next year's? I'd like to say no, but I might. I have enough banding to do another year. To be determined. I have not started planning my 2022 stitching yet. I'm still trying to get through 2021. That hadn't happened before. My phone ran out of storage, so it shut off. I'd been talking to myself for a little bit before I realized it. Took care of that, did some afternoon mom things, drove the kids around, and I'm back. So my lighting is completely different. We're moving into evening, but I wanted to show you the rest of my whips so I could get this video up before another 4.5 months go by. My next whip, if you haven't been watching me for a long time, you may never have seen me work on it. It is my Heaven and Earth Designs. It's called A Place of Her Own. And I decided to try Pattern Keeper. I'd heard so much about it for full coverage designs, and I had reached a part where there was a ton of confetti. So I needed something, or else I wasn't going to work on this ever. So here's where I am. Believe it or not, this is almost 6 pages. This is 1/1 on 25 count even weave. And I did a lot of this section here. So you can see how many colors there are there. This is a regular size Heaven and Earth, regular colors, so it's about 90 colors in it. And that's where I am. I really enjoyed working on this with Pattern Keeper. I'm at 6% on the chart, and I do want to pull it out again soon to work on it. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about all my whips, but it is really, really neat seeing it come to life. And this is going to be huge. I mean, huge. But I have a nice blank spot in the library I'd like to put it on. So that's that. So I did do the free, Pattern Keeper has a free month trial, and I did purchase the app because it is fabulous. There are tons of videos about how to use Pattern Keeper. So I'm by no means an expert. Do a little search on YouTube and there'll be tons of videos. So if you're interested in trying it for full coverage stitching, give it a shot. Next whip is Mirabilia's Halloween Fairy. This was the last whip I worked on before I stopped stitching for like 4 or 5 years. And ironically, I picked up stitching again after like a 5-year hiatus. This was the first whip I worked on. I started that. And this was the last whip I worked on before I stopped. I had been dreading getting back to this. I worked on it a little bit at the beginning of the year. I'm doing this on an even weave. I have no idea what color it is. It is an opalescent. I think it's 32 count. And since you've seen it last, I worked on the wing. And let's see if I can do the light without bumping it. Put it up a little bit so you can see. I had put it down because I was waiting for some blending filament to come in. It was out of stock because I wanted to make the wing nice and sparkly, and you can't really see, but this kit is available again. I know that 123 Stitch has it. I would like to finish her sooner rather than later. I should stop saying that. I'm saying that about all my whips, aren't I? Because I actually even have a frame for her, and I'd like to see her done. Last whip in my pile, my massive pile. So this is an oldie but goodie. It is Permanent of Copenhagen, Sampler 1830. This is the one I have called my green blanket because it is huge. And I am doing it on 32 count Belfast linen. I think the color is light mocha. I'm using DMC 934, 2/2, 2 threads over 2 strands of over 2 threads. And here we are. I can't even fit it in anymore, huh? I am loving how this is looking. I worked on it for a while since I filmed last. This is the bit I have done. This row here. Really loving working on it. My initial goal was to finish this in 2021. May or may not happen. I still have, if you look at the chart, I still have like this bottom row to go. But I mean, I'm more than 3/4 of the way through it. If I don't finish it this year, it should be an early finish in 2022. So once again, There we go. This is a joy to stitch. While I am looking forward to finishing it and having it on my wall, I will miss stitching on it. For me, a monochromatic project that is large is like the comfort movie or the comfort food of stitching for me, because I get into the zen of stitching. All I need to think about is which motif am I going to stitch next, and it's very relaxing and therapeutic for me. So I have really enjoyed stitching this, and when I finish it, I have another large monochromatic that will probably take its place as that comfort stitching for me. So that's all the whips. That was a lot. I didn't count because I put a lot of them away, and I didn't count when I was throwing them away, but that was a lot of whips. Haul. I have bought a lot over the last few months. I hit 3 cross stitch shops, 3 LNSs when I was traveling this summer. I hit In Stitches outside of Washington, D.C. I went to Hodgepodge and Stitches Unlimited in Pennsylvania. Also done my share of buying some things online. I'm not going to show haul. I did enjoy visiting those shops. I might actually do a video about those shops. I did take some pictures and show what I got, but don't hold me to it. I just kind of want to get back into a regular filming schedule. I have really made an effort the last couple of years, anytime we've traveled, is to go search out that local needlework shop and give them business, because I feel like the local needlework shops are so important to us, and I want to keep them going. So I enjoy doing that. I love talking to the owners and exploring every shop. So I would encourage you to do that too when you're traveling around if you can. Plans. I did say I finished 2 and I started 4. I do have plans to start 2 more things in the relatively near future. So one of them is the Blackbird Loose Feathers series. These go together. All 3 pieces can be stitched together. You can see it in the bottom there. And the reason why I want to start this is because Lynette from Homesteading on the Home Front and the rest of the Frugal Yankees are bad influences. Lynette is starting this, and so everybody else wants to jump on board. A bunch of them have started it. I haven't yet. I don't even know what color fabric I'm going to use. I will likely use mostly DMC and pick some over dyes from my stash. I don't know if I'm going to do it exactly like that. I might play around with the border a little bit. I've seen a few pictures online. I'll keep you updated. These are recently back in print. These are fabulous charts because not only is it the one, piece in each little book, and I didn't realize this until I bought it, each book also has 2 small projects in it as well. This is why I don't film at night, guys, because my light stinks. I love this little holiday one. Isn't that cute? And where's the other one? That one's called Eveline Cunningham. And the last one is these. So great set. If you're looking for Blackbird, they are back in print. And the last thing I'm going to start, and the last thing I'm going to show you before I go, is my oldest, I think I told you, is a senior. And I would like to make her a graduation gift. And she loves white tigers. And she has been asking me for a few years to make her a white tiger cross stitch. as I've discussed, I'm not really a full coverage stitcher, but she really wants something. So I am going to start this white tiger for her. This is from Etsy. I'm going to have a million links in the description box. I'm going to try to put this link in there too for this pattern because I forget what shop it's from. It's one of the Russian designers. So it's not that big, but there's a lot of blends in it. All DMC. And she saw that and she was like, Mom, I can't say no. I think I'm going to stitch it on just navy Lugana, navy even weave, 28 count. Because I think the white tiger will look really stunning on the navy. And that's it. I know this was a little bit of a longer video for me because I had so much to share with you. Thank you so much for continuing to come back to watch me after a long hiatus. I hadn't even replied to all the comments on my last video before things kind of exploded here. And I need to apologize for that because I like to try to respond to every comment, or at least like every comment. I did read them all. It was out of sight, out of mind for a few months. But I hope to be back soon. I am loving stitching again. I'm loving getting back into a rhythm. And I am really hoping to be able to do some more stitching meetups this fall and get back into watching FlossTube and seeing what everybody else is up to. Thank you so much. Have a great evening and see you soon. Bye.